Yes. What's going on, family? What's going on, guys? Welcome to tonight's stream with your boy Abel. Super excited to be here with every single one of y'all tonight, family, because we are live. We are back for another jam-packed session for today, family. Let's get it. Go ahead and drop your locations in the chat, family. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, because we are live right now, and we're gonna have another phenomenal stream today. Right, so I don't know about y'all, but I'm super excited to be here. So go ahead and drop those locations, family. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And we're going to get this thing started, guys, ever so shortly, right? Ever so shortly. All right, in the meantime, in between time, we're going to let this beat play out a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and get this thing started, guys, officially. Go ahead and drop those locations as you tune in. Drop those locations as you tune in, family. Let's get it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes, family. Yes. I see we got Chicago in the building. We got Tampa in the house. What's up? St. Lucia strong. I see y'all. What a day. I hear you, Lorena. What a day it has been in the markets, man. I see we got Alabama in the house on the check-in. Trinidad and Tobago in the house. What's going on? We got Vegas in the building. Toronto, Atlanta, Stockton, California, Dallas, Texas. We got Colombo, Sri Lanka in the house. We got South Carolina, Dallas, Arizona, Detroit, Menlo Park, California, PA, New Zealand, Arkansas, Greensboro in the building. We got the Bahamas on the check-in. Worcester, Massachusetts in the building. What's up? We got Nigeria in the house. Raleigh, North Carolina. Shout out to everybody tuning in today. You guys want me to drop a freestyle? Y'all don't want me to do that. Y'all gonna end up running off the call. Right, y'all gonna end up running off the call. Yeah. Stacking pips, catching pips, that's all we about. Nah, you guys are playing. I'm not gonna do it, family. Right, but again, welcome to today's session. I see we got Savage Land in the building. 20 Pip, I see you. Right, we got Charleston in the house, Texas. Winston. Good to see you, Winston. We got ATL in the building. King Lions, what's good, man? Good to see you in the chat. All right, let's see. We got Columbia in the building. Florida, what's up? Dallas, I see y'all. You had it going, right? Listen, I could go crazy. I I just choose not to. All right, we're going to leave that for another day. Family. All right, but this beat is tough, though. Yes. What's going on, family? What is up? What is up? What is up, man? That beat was fire. Hold on, let me actually save that beat because that was crazy. That beat was crazy. What's going on, family? Good to see you in the chat. Right, let's see. What's good, St. Jude? Ready for CPI? 100%, right? CPI is actually on Thursday. Tomorrow is PPI data that we have to worry about. But PPI and CPI, guys, this week are definitely going to be very important news releases that we should definitely be paying attention to, right? Because obviously, right now, the big, and I feel very repetitive when I say all this stuff, guys, especially since we go live pretty consistent. Um, but again, repetition is absolutely important, right? They say repetition, guys, is the mother of all learning and the father of all skill, right? So if you truly want to get better at whatever it is that you're after, right, it's going to come through your repetition in doing that, okay? Your repetition, right? Actually, matter of fact, speaking of that, right? So this morning, we did actually host a New York session live. We hosted it for the private Profit Society beta community that we have so far, testing out the platform for us, helping us out, right? And Skaggs actually said something that was actually pretty powerful on the call this morning that comes back to the importance of repetition, right? He was pretty much just talking about, the level of experience that you actually have, right, when you're trading, right, and how your experience is honestly going to help you out when it comes to picking and choosing on what trades that you guys truly should be choosing, right? And that's why repetition is so important, right? So that you can make sure that you are identifying these things, guys, over and over and over and over again, right? The reason why I'm so confident in my trading abilities is because I've been trading now for a while, right? It's going on 8 years this month, which is pretty crazy, right? I started back in 2015, right? 8 years this month, full time. We've been going for around 5 years now, full time, right? And I've been pretty much using the same exact strategy for the most part, guys, consistently for the past few years, right? The one thing that I just added to my arsenal over the past year and a half to 2 years was utilizing fundamental and sentimental analysis a lot more into my overall outlook of these markets. But for the most part, from a technical perspective, it's been all very the same things, right? It's the things that I've been doing over and over and over and over and over again. So the reason why I have confidence in these markets, right, is because I've been able to see things occur over and over and over and over again, right? And that's what it's going to come down for you guys, right? Your guys' ability to just continue to practice the same strategy, use the same strategy over and over and over again, is what's going to allow you to eventually really start to get consistency with that strategy. Right now, I don't care what strategy you personally end up using, but whatever strategy it is that you do have, right, just be consistent with it, right? Be consistent with that strategy, guys, right? Stay with the strategy for a year, 2 years, 3 years, right? And then if it doesn't work for whatever reason after 2, 3 years, then yeah, that strategy is just not good, right? Or the way you're utilizing it is not good for whatever reason. But you want to pick with a strategy and stay with that strategy. Why? Because when you have that strategy, you're able to gain the experience that you need so that you can get the results that you're after, guys. So again, very important to be consistently doing the same things over and over again, right? So that goes back to what I was just saying, guys. Repetition is so important, right? So again, a lot of the things that I do say that I talk about are very repetitive, but it's important for you guys just to continue to listen to it over and over and over again, right? It is a fact, guys, that your subconscious mind is 80,000 times more powerful than your regular mind, right? Your non-subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is also where all of your ideas and your thoughts and everything that you do on a daily basis, all the actions that you take, it usually comes from the subconscious mind, right? So what our whole objective here as educators, as mentors, is to give you guys the main information, right? Give you guys the real information, but continuously repeat it over and over and over and over again, so it does get stuck in your subconscious mind, so you're able to, pretty much just remember it forever and ever and ever, right? So there's definitely a lot of a method to my madness, right, with how repetitive I am with a lot of things, because it's only going to get you guys better, right? It's only going to put you guys in a much better position overall. So, like we were talking about today, guys, we had a very interesting day overall today. I actually ended up taking some GJ buys, right? And these are buys that I've talked to you guys about on Sunday's call, our weekly outlook that we hosted here on YouTube. I did tell you guys that I was very interested in looking for some buys on GJ. I was able to get some buys on GJ as well. And this is the only opportunity that I actually was in, right? So I ended up taking buys, guys, down here, right? It was like at 160 70s, 160 70. So around this area is where I ended up looking for buys, right? Literally just looking at this break right here and then this retest back down to here, right? Took a buy down here at these levels. Um, but the market ended up going in our direction. You know, it did end up flying around 170 pips. I ended up closing out one of my positions, right? Because I had 2 orders open. I ended up closing out one of them once we did come back up to this area of supply, right? And then the other one I went break even, right? So I ended up closing out, you know, again, not partials, but I ended up closing out a nice bag here, right? I still was able to make, you know, 4 figures on this trade. It's just my second one ended up getting stopped out at break even, right? And that's just because the pound itself just ended up getting extremely weak. Right now, again, right now, over there in the, you know, over there in the UK, guys, they're dealing with a lot, right? They're dealing with a lot in terms of, you know, their policies, right? And today they actually let it be known that quantitative easing, which is what they've been doing as well, on top of quantitative tightening, that it's only going to be lasting for a few more days, right? So just anything that they're talking about over there in the UK, guys, like any little decision that they make is affecting this market right now, or at least the pound as a whole, right? So just because they made that announcement that the QE that they're doing right now is going to end in 3 days, I mean, that literally sent the pound on a free fall down to the downside, right? Which, again, something like that is not expected, right? I didn't know that they were going to come out today and say that, right? So there's a lot of things that are unexpected, and that's why it's always important just to make sure that you are protecting your account and managing your trades correctly, right? But overall, it was still a W, right? I was still able to catch 150 pips on one of my positions, right? Which is a big W, right? Absolutely phenomenal trade. Now, if I'm being honest with y'all, right? Now that we're on GJ, just to stick on GJ real quick, I'm still very interested in a bullish play here, right? I'm still very bullish, guys, on GJ here, right? I really am. Okay, I still want to see this thing go higher. I think we are going to be able to rebound and start to see this thing fly eventually. So I'm still very much interested in that, right? That's not changing overall just because we've seen this spike down right here. I'm still very much bullish, right? So I think if we're able to see price maybe come towards this 159.5 level, right? Maybe one spike down can give us an opportunity to definitely go ahead and go higher, right? That's gonna be my personal outlook for GJ. I would love to see that because again, I'm still bullish. Right now, why am I bullish, family? Right? Who knows in the chat why I'm bullish? Right? Why am I bullish GBP JPY even after a massive sell-off like this? Who knows why? Right? Very simple, right? I mean, it should be simple if you've been paying attention. Right, let's see what else we got here. It was about to float on that beat. I'm telling y'all gonna get me freestyling one day, right? Y'all catch me one day. Let's see. Bars already getting dropped. See, we got the boy Skaggs in the building, right? Let's see the boy Skaggs. Okay, the boy Skaggs in the actual or the Zoom as well. Let me make him co-host. Perfect. All right, let's see. PPI should give insight to CPI. Yeah, for sure, right? PPI can give us some clues as to what CPI can come out as for sure. Let's see what up, Able to Profit Society Squad out of Sacramento. Brother Joseph, appreciate you. What's up? What's up? Desmond, I see you in the chat. What's up? Right, let's see. Got in with you. Got in that short today. Okay, let's get it. All right, so the question that I asked here, guys, is why am I still technically bullish GJ, right? Although we just had an increase in selling pressure, right? And it really just has to do, guys, with the fundamentals, right? And the sentiment overall, right? That's really why I'm still kind of bullish on this. Right, normally, me in the past, if I was just looking at this from a technical perspective, I'll be like, oh, man, look at this massive reaction. We might actually go ahead and continue lower. And if we're being honest, that is still very possible, right? You know, the market can absolutely just tank, right? In fact, if we actually end up running these lows, then we might really go ahead and target back down to these levels. But I'm not thinking that that is going to happen right now. Again, full transparency. I could be wrong, right? I'm only human, right? I'm only human, guys, right? But I'm betting on these policies, right? I'm betting on the policies against these central banks, and I think the pound is still a lot more attractive, even with all the chaos, right, that's happening over there in the UK, right? Even a lot of chaos, right, around the prime minister, right, and these decisions that the prime minister is deciding to implement, right? Even with all that, I still think that the pound is just still more attractive than the Japanese yen. Right, so has to do, guys, with the policies between these two central banks. All right, because when I'm trying to figure out currency strength and which currency could be stronger against another one, right, I'd love to utilize what, central banks are doing in terms of monetary policy, right? Is one easing, is one tightening, right? What's the process, right? What's the interest rates like, right? I like to compare interest rates when I'm also looking at these type of, currency pairs, right? And just from all these perspectives, in my opinion, of course, I'm still very much bullish this, right? So I think we really could see this thing, guys, eventually rebound and go higher, right? I would love to see the market come back up and really run these highs that we just now ended up creating, all right? I would love to see that happen, right? The market come up in here and catch all this money up there. So I'm still looking for the sell overall. Even though we did have this massive big 4-hour candle right there, we really didn't get no volume behind that bearish push at all, neither. Like really no type of real selling pressure. So again, I think that this is going to be short lived. So I really want to start looking for some opportunities to go ahead and go long on, right? Now, what I want to see here, guys, and this is really what I'm going to be looking for GJ, right? I'm very interested in that 159.5 level, right? We do have these equal lows right here that I think are going to be super attractive level to see a sweep on, right? So I would love to see the smart guys go ahead and rebound, or not rebound, but come back to below this level, go ahead and run these lows right here, right? This equal low, and then from there we find some support, and then we go ahead and start going higher, right? Or we find some demand for the pound, and then we go ahead and go bullish to the upside, right? So that's my outlook. That's what I would love to see. If the market gives me that play, if the market comes down to this 159.5, just know I'm in that bad boy, right? I'm in there all day long, no questions asked. I like it. It fits my rules, and that's all I could do, right? As a trader, guys, all we can do is really find the right opportunities that make the most sense based off our rules, and then we take the trade and we deal with the outcome of it, right? Whatever the outcome is. The reason why I like this one though is because if it works out, the risk to reward could be amazing, right? The risk to reward could be absolutely stunning, right? I mean, again, if we can get entry here, we're talking about a 10 to 1, 9 to 1 risk to reward. Stunning, right? That is stunning. Now, the next question that I got here, or that I know some of you guys are probably thinking, well, Abel, what about this imbalance to the left, bro? What about these fair value gaps, right? Shouldn't those get filled? I mean, yeah, the market could actually go ahead and do that, right? But also the market could also just play off of here, right? Because look at the evidence in the past, right? We have evidence in the past, right? We're not just making this up. We have evidence in the past, right? That the market likes to actually react and play off of this level of support, right? So since we have that evidence, then I think there is a good possibility for the market to give us a play. Now, if the market does end up running these lows, right? If the market says, nope, we're actually going to go ahead and just continue going lower, then that's fine, right? That's fine. That's all that's doing is setting me up for my next big move. And then at that point, if we do run this low, then I think we're probably going to end up coming all the way down to around this 154.7 level. And then around off that 154.7, then I'll be super attractive for the next opportunity to go long. Right now, again, I know I low-key might be marrying this bias of bullish pound yen, but I'm using the data, right? I'm using the data that I have access to really help me identify what this thing could really do, right? That's all I'm doing, right? So again, you have to understand, in my opinion, for me personally, right? I always tell people not to marry trades, right? Marrying a trade can lead you to a blown account. But when you have data on your side, right? When you have fundamental data and you're actually interpreting it the correct way, then I'm sticking with the data. I'm sticking with the bias, right? I'm sticking with the fundamentals, even if we do take some short-term losses in between. Okay, so that's just how I'm playing it personally. You guys don't have to do what I do, but that's me. That's how I like to play it. So overall, though, guys, this does look like a very interesting move. Like I said, I'm very interested in this potential buy down here around the 159.5. Right, if we could really get a nice reaction off of there, then I mean, we really might see this thing absolutely fly. Right, so that's what I'm gonna keep my eyes on for GJ. 159.5 is gonna be that interesting area for me. I want to see how price really starts to react around that level, and if we can get something like this, let me go ahead and slide this over real quick. Right, if we can get something like this, guys, right, where we see, you guys know my favorite pattern on a downtrend. My favorite pattern goes like this. All right, double bottom, a sweep of the lows, and an initial reaction right back up to break the highs, right? We broke the lows, but then followed through with a break of the highs. I love this pattern, guys, when I'm looking for a bullish play. When I'm looking for like a bullish reaction, right? It's super, super attractive, super, super sexy play here. So that's what I want to look for, right? If we're able to see price run these lows, then we see an initial rebound to break the highs. Oh my God. Y'all better be buying that with me if we see something like that. Don't let me just eat this. Don't let me eat by myself. Right? Don't let me eat by myself. Right? So if we see something like that, just know I'm going to eat. I'm going to feast. I'm going to hopefully catch a bag. But that's really the play, guys, that I love to see. Right? We see the run of the lows and then immediately come back up and break the highs. Right? That is showing that we are now experiencing a lot of bullish demand, and then we should go ahead and position ourselves to ride this thing back up to the upside, right? So that's really what I'm going to be looking for. That's simple, okay? It could happen. It's probably going to happen tonight, by the way. You know, it could happen even, anytime soon, right? It really could happen anytime soon where we run this thing and then rebound back up. So that's what I'm looking for, all right? That's what I'm looking for. It looks absolutely juicy for sure, guys, for GJ. All right, now let's go ahead, and that was just me pretty much just recapping on the trade idea that I ended up taking today. All right, but let's go ahead and look at the data we have for the rest of the week, guys, because again, this is very important for you guys to get. You know, tonight at 2 p.m., we do have GDP numbers, GDP data, guys, coming out for the pound. This is going to be big, right? GDP is one of those major tier 1 news releases, right, that influences decision making across the board when it comes to these currencies, right? So depending on how GDP ends up coming out, you know, it could really tell us if the pound is going to gain strength or if it's going to lose strength, right? Just for an example, to really break this down, right now, guys, GDP over there was at 4.4%, right? GDP stands for gross domestic product, right? GDP just pretty much tells you if your economy is contracting or if it's expanding, right? You know, right now they've seen it at 4.4% last time, right? Whenever they measured it. Right now, they're expecting it to come out at 2.4%, right? So we're seeing their economy, if it comes out as forecasted, right? We are now going to see their economy, or that's saying that their economy has contracted by 2%. Okay, their economy has contracted by 2%. Okay, now is that looked at as good or bad for the economy? Right? Is that a good or a bad thing, guys, right? When your economy is contracting, you're losing value overall. Is that good or bad for the economy? All right, I mean, this is kind of very self-explanatory, right? But is this good or bad for the economy? Answer that in the chat. Damn, I don't know how to drink. I just spilled juice all over myself. Y'all got me excited. Right? Yeah, this is bad for the economy. Right? That is looked at as bad, right? Their economy is contracting, right? You don't want to see economies contract, right? That's not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing, right? That's a bad thing. Now, why is that important? Right? Well, if we have a contracting economy, right, that's going to add a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets, right? And if we have, again, a contracting economy, guess how we can play this? Right, that is bullish fiat currency, or we could just keep it simple, say bullish the pound, right, and bearish the indices over there in the UK. Right, similar concepts, guys, to how we trade, you know, these news releases and comparing it to the economies and the currencies, right? It's all going to be similar plays, right? So if we have a contracting economy, right, so if the pound does actually end up showing that it contracted, that is going to be bullish for the pound, right? But it's going to be negative for the indices, the equities market, right? Because the economy is now contracting. So that's just a very simple way, right, of understanding how this type of data that's going to come out at 2 a.m., right, in about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 hours, right? If it comes out at 2.4% or lower, right, then we can expect a bullish pound off of that. Okay, so that is also tying into what I really want to see with this bullish bias here for GJ. Shoot, so if this news comes out tonight, guys, negative or lower than, you know, was forecasted, and we see an initial spike lower, listen, man, I'm in there. All right, if we see a spike below this on the news, But yet, is news saying that the pound should gain strength? I'm not falling for this. Oh man, I'm getting in that bad boy, right? And I'm riding that thing up. Okay, that's utilizing news to help us figure out what the market can do next, right? But I would not be surprised, right, if this thing is end up higher by the time I wake up in the morning. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, so we'll see what happens overall. Again, everything I'm saying is just my opinion. I could be completely wrong on that, and if I'm wrong, it is what it is, right? My account will show that I was wrong, right? But that's pretty much where we're at for that, guys. But again, that's something we have to be aware of going into tonight, right? Is all this pound news. Now, we do have PPI news as well at 8:30 in the morning. We will be trading this live, guys, inside of the Profit Society community, right, inside of the actual platform. But we will, again, do a recap for every single one of y'all that's here on YouTube. Just going over exactly what PPI did, how it reacted, and, if we were able to take any type of opportunities for that, right? But that's definitely going to be one of the major ones to be aware of, guys. PPI tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. And then FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m., right, is another one that's going to be very, very interesting as well. And then on Thursday is probably going to be the big boy, right? With core CPI getting released. Obviously, CPI, guys, helps measure inflation or measures the change in the price of goods and services, right? But again, AKA tells us what inflation is like. Obviously, that's the big thing. That's the big event that a lot of these central banks have been focusing on trying to fight, right? Is inflation, because it is very, very high right now. So you best believe, guys, everybody's going to be paying attention to this number, right, to see exactly what CPI ends up coming out as. Right now, they are expecting it to go from 8.3% down to 8.1%, right, which is saying that CPI is starting to go lower. But I wouldn't be surprised if this actually comes out higher, right? I don't know. For some reason, and I could be wrong, like I said, but I think for some reason, I think that this is actually probably going to end up coming out higher. All right, I think it is. So depending on how this actually comes out, the markets will respond accordingly, right? If this thing comes out, guys, above 8%, right, 8% or higher, then the dollar is going to the moon, right? Gold is going to hell, right? Euro USD is going to hell. NAS 100 is going to hell. SPX 500 going to hell, right? US 30 going to hell, right? Everything is going to hell except for the dollar. Okay, if this number comes out 8% and higher and above, right, it's going to be very drastic. All right, so just understand how to play that. Now, if we actually come out under 8%, see, now that's a different conversation, right? Because that might actually show that inflation finally has plateaued, right? And I'm not saying that it's going to change current sentiment just yet. But if we do start to see numbers come, below this 8%, guys, and we're in that 7% range, then that's definitely going to bring a lot more confidence back into the overall marketplace, right? That's going to bring a lot more confidence back overall in terms of what the Fed is actually doing. So we might see a little rally in indices off of that, right? We might see, dollar weakness off of that if it starts to come out lower around that 7%. I doubt it's going to be in the crazy 6%, but you just never know, right? But again, just keeping your guys' minds aware of this stuff, guys, right? This is what's really going to tell us if the dollar is going to gain strength, continue to gain strength, or if we're finally going to start to see some type of a pullback in the dollar, right? So that's going to be the big one we have to be aware of going into Thursday for sure. All right, so that's just what we're at, guys, and what we're dealing with for this week overall. Like I said, the only trade that I ended up taking this week was this GBP JPY, or at least for today, right? And interested in seeing what we can really do moving forward, though, right? So that's pretty much where I'm at. Let's see what we got here now. I know we got the boy Skaggs in the chat, in the building with us today. All right, let me see if he's actually at his computer right now, because then I can go ahead and let him give you guys some insight as to the pairs that they were looking at, right? Because there was actually some bangers, family. Some bangers that were called out, right? If you guys are inside of the Profit Society beta, right? If you guys were on that Zoom call this morning, New York Zoom call, go ahead and drop a 3 in the chat real quick, right? Let's see who's actually on the call this morning, right? Because there was some bangers that were called out this morning, right? Shout out to that boy Kyle. He absolutely crushed it with USD CAD, right? And I know Kyle also brought up the Euro USD, which Skaggs ended up fine tuning it, right? And that thing absolutely did its thing as well. right? So yeah, it was crazy, right? It was a really really good session this morning, guys. Looking at New York session, trading it live, and just pretty much reacting and doing what we do, right? So that was an absolute banger, banger, banger. A few setups. So shout out to all y'all that was on the call, to be able to witness that. All right, but we will be back again live tomorrow as well. All right, but let me see. Let me see if this boy Skags is here. Skags, bro, are you there, bro? Let me know if you are there and if you can hear what is being said.
Yes, sir. What's going on, bro?
There he is. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling, bro?
Hey, feeling all right, feeling all right.
Let's get it. So go ahead and if you want, take over, bro, and you can go over the pairs that you guys looked at this morning.
Yeah, I can go over. I mean, like you said, we only took two trades this morning. Let me share my screen real quick. Um, and then let's just make sure that this stuff is up on the stream. What's going on, family? Let me get some ones in the chat if you guys could hear me. Just want to make sure the sound is good. You guys could see my charts, all that fun stuff. So let me get some ones in the chat. Let's get some energy. I see 113 people on the call. We got about 50 likes. If you guys could smash that like button, we would greatly appreciate that. As always, it does help get the stream out to more people on YouTube. All right, what's good? What's good? What's good, family? So listen, um, like Abel said, we did take two trades this morning. Both of them were really called out by Kyle. However, EU is something that I refined a little bit more. Um, you know, he was looking at the setup and I was kind of just making adjustments, to where his entry, where I would put my entry and my stop loss, right? Looking at the same direction, just looking at a little bit of a different setup. So you guys can kind of see on the chart the trade we took today. I haven't changed anything. And I am since out of this position. But basically we were just looking at this trading range this morning, and the idea Kyle had thrown out was basically buying EU on a retest of this circled candle here. I'm actually going to erase that and just highlight this area, right? At a retest of this candle. So his setup was more or less something like this, right? Playing into this order block with the stop right below. Um, and then again, targeting a little bit higher, right? His targets might have been a little bit different than what I had on my chart, but we were looking for that bullish move. Um, I had again, agreed with the move. But I had refined this down a little bit because, again, for those of you that were on the call, right, I'm not going to go into like crazy depth of the analysis, but essentially the idea was to play this quote unquote order block, which, as some of you may know, I don't consider a valid order block. So I was just adjusting the idea because, again, they were trying to catch very low risk stuff, stop loss right below this. And I had to kind of just brought to everybody's attention that this is not what you would consider a valid order block, right? It's not protected price action, meaning that very typically a candle like this will get liquidated, right? We can see that's exactly what happened had price, actually came down and liquidated this candle. So for me, I kind of just told everybody, listen, wait until you get the liquidation of this candle, right? Wait until you kind of tap and fill out this wick and play in between these areas to go for that buy. So a few people made that adjustment. A few people either extended their stop out or just waited for this test, which really helped us out because, again, this would have been, again, I believe a few people that did take it with those type parameters did get stopped out. Again, I tried to warn them of that risk. But if you did wait, it was beautiful. I mean, pip perfect, type of entry. We had seen this live on the call after the candle had closed back up. And I said, listen, now at this point, now you can begin going, into those buys. And again, riding them up, our TP was around 97.75 up here, which you could see again, smacked relatively perfect. Pretty much just playing up into some of this, imbalance and fair value gap, inefficiency, as I call it, to the left. But it was a very, very beautiful trade. I also had talked about how I really didn't believe this was what we call a resolved range, right? So I'm not also entirely surprised that we actually ended up coming right back down after securing those profits. I still do believe, EU has further to go. I still do believe that tomorrow will drive EU to fill out this wick. Um, it was my belief on Sunday that it was possible for us to break this level this week. However, heading into CPI, and depending what kind of numbers come out, I might be more lenient towards, again, I was just grabbing this and then going up. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that was one trade we took, and then the other trade was a USD CAD banger that I did not take. But again, this is Kyle's analysis, and Kyle was looking again at the same thing we were looking at on EU, right? Basically looking at dollar weakness to come in over the board. So he was looking at entries this 138 37.5 area, which again, pretty much pip perfect. Again, you guys can go into the Telegram chat that we have. This chart was sent, it was called up here. All right, there's time-stamped proof of that. And then again, this came down right towards targets. Kyle said he closed his around noon. So probably a little preemptively up in this area here is when he had exited that position. Again, I did not take USD CAD, but again, this was a very beautiful trade. And again, as you can see, the market did come back, much like it did in many other cases, off of that Bank of England news. So pretty good trading morning. I mean, EU, as far as I was concerned, was perfect entry, perfect exit, in more or less up in this area here. Although again, this was the preferred entry. My entry did live up here after that spike. So more realistically, my trade looked something like this. I actually had closed a little bit lower after that candle. So yeah, like a 1 to 3 this morning. Not too bad of a trade, pretty standard risk for me. But yeah, guys, that's what we took. And again, at this point, I'm probably not going to be doing much until we get that PPI data. I probably will end up forcing myself into a position between PPI and CPI, pending what the numbers come out as and what the reaction is. But yeah, I'm probably not trading until that moment. So we will see what we have. Let's see. Just go back in the chat. Sandra Lopez says, first time here from San Francisco. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. We appreciate you joining us. I had two positions hit out originally, and one got pulled out at 1 to 4. Cody, is that on EU, bro, or is that on USD CAD? I know you were on the call this morning. I'm just not sure which one you took, my guy. But yeah, beautiful trade. USD CAD. What did USD CAD run for? Because his stops are above the high. If let's see, I mean, you wouldn't have got out at the low. Yeah, this one was like more of a 1 to 4, a realistic catch. 1 to 4. You got out at EU. Yeah, you might have had a tighter stop on EU than I did then. If you had a 1 to 4, I mean, at that point you could have ran into the wick, although that wouldn't have been the safest thing to do. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so if you tightened up the stop a little bit, you definitely could have got that nice 1 to 4. So that's beautiful. What do I think about oil? That's a good question. Little updates to the Sunday analysis on oil. And actually, I'm going to apologize. I'm using the wrong chart here. All right. So this is an update to the oil analysis that we went over on Sunday when price was up here. Basically, my idea is very simple on oil. We've gotten what I consider a change of character here, which is a valid break of structure supported by volume. And then as you can see, we've been just slowly kind of waiting for this to come back down to this, 85 area. Basically, what I want to see in the lower time frames is this very specific candle here with the wick, right? I want to see this price action get tested down here. I don't need to draw another line because that line is already here. But I'm looking for a little bit more of a correction, deeper into some of this liquidity here. And then from there, I'll be looking to see what kind of market structure forms to take buys. But the second we break this 85.25 level, I will be looking to go bullish. I am also holding short positions from up here. I had entered in some higher risk oil shorts after this move. All right, so after we kind of pushed above the weekly open, then we closed back down here. In these lower areas, I did end up taking a short. I know on Sunday I said I probably wasn't going to do that. just because I typically don't like to play the counter trend, but the risk to reward was again like heavily in my favor at this point, risking just to the wick. Again, looking at this 85 area, this is like a 1 to 4, 1 to 5. So I'm just chilling at break even on these. I am, short, but generally speaking, um, again, I'm waiting for that longer term buy to kick back in. And then once we get the lower 85 area, it'll be uh it'll be me buying until we clear this wick to the left up at 102. And then once that breaks, we'll look to fill some of the inefficiency up here at the 104, 105 area. I'm very bullish oil. I'm gonna just be real with you guys. Like fundamentally, it's hard for me to be anything but bullish oil, and especially in a time of war. And I know the whole Russia Ukraine situation really hasn't progressively got worse, but there are still things happening. I mean, the U.S. here is on DEFCON 3 in terms of like security, so stuff that we levels of security we haven't been at in a long time. Um, OPEC making production cuts, and just there's a whole slew of things going on that make me very, very much bullish oil in the macro. So yeah, that's the plan on oil though. We kind of stay on this path and again see what we get down at this 85 area. Now I know there's a lot of people looking at this gap. I know there's a lot of people looking at this gap. And trust me, this is not here for my own entertainment, right? And if you can't read this, let me make this bigger because the text is probably small for you guys. Right. So we do have this gap on oil that I know a lot of people are probably looking at closing. Is my belief this is what you're gonna call like a long-term gap, right? I don't believe this closes. If oil were to come close this gap, I wouldn't be as bullish as I am on it. Um, I do believe this is a long-term gap. I do think it's something that will sit in the market for some time. Um, 'Cause again, I'm not a big believer in gaps have to close. All right, there's a lot of long-term gaps that have sat there for a year, 2 years. I mean, there was one on EU for like I don't even know what it was, like 3.5 years. There was one on UJ for like 7 years. And I do believe this is like a fundamentally driven, logically driven gap. So if we do close this, that would probably change my whole bullish sentiment on oil. So it's my belief that we come close. We probably entice a lot of people to kind of chase the gap close, but I don't believe that we get it. Um, I really, really, really would prefer to see oil not come anywhere near this gap. Hopefully that makes sense too. Hopefully people understand why, I'm looking at this being a long-term gap and the logic of it not filling. If you guys want me to clarify that on that more, I'm more than happy to do that. But again, in my opinion, this does not close. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at on oil. Again, a low formulating around here, and then very, very, very easy buys back up into all of these remaining inefficiencies to the downside. So yeah, if you guys can get a swing trade on this, definitely, definitely, definitely in your best interest. Let me go just check the chat post-war. Yeah, that just means after the war, right? That means after all the Russian Ukraine stuff. That means after any sort of China and Taiwan issues come into play. That's what we mean by post-war. What time frame are we looking at? This is specifically a 4 hour. Yeah, I don't know why you guys can't see my time frame. He just has it moved up a little too high. But this is a 4 hour chart. Let me just get all those random things for my one-on-one session out of the chart. But yeah, this is a 4 hour that we're currently looking at. Cool. Any other pairs? Any other questions? What else you guys want to go over? I did see the gap. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to close. Um, News stated it wants price to get back to yeah. So, I mean, that would be like like one of my biggest concerns, right? Is I really don't like that. And when you say news, you specifically mean JP Morgan. if I recall correctly, that headline was specifically JP Morgan calling 100 on oil. The funny thing about those headlines though is they come in at the most convenient times. So they literally that that headline literally came out the same day I went short, right? That headline came out up here, right? So of course JP Morgan puts out some sort of like estimation for oil to hit 100. I mean, it was already trading at like 93, 94. So calling 100 is like it's really it's like it's not this like far out crazy idea, right? Like you're like $4 or $5, like you're like a day or two, a really good day or two away from hitting that at that point. But it's really again the timing of it couldn't have been any more impeccable because it's like they put that headline out right when oil is basically going to start doing its little bit of a pullback. So again, anybody that was playing those headlines again, probably not even going to survive the pullback if they went long at that point, and probably at this point are already out with like a $3 dip in oil. Most people can't handle, um, pullbacks like that, and if they are, they're 100% trapped in that trade. But yeah, so you got to be careful with those headlines. Those headlines come out at the most inconvenient of times if you're gonna follow them. Let's see. So a couple of people asked for gold. Can you mark up AU, gold, NAS, SPX? Somebody says gold drop, AUNZD. All right, a lot of people want gold, and a lot of people want AU and NU, which are two pair. I mean, these are all correlated, guys. So what you need to understand is like what we're looking at on EU is also what we're looking at on gold, NU, and AU. Like the plan is not going to be any different. Like if you look again, look at this chart, right? Look at gold 4 hour. All right, let's go look at everything else. Let's go look at Euro 4 hour. Oh, look, what a surprise. It looks exactly the same. Okay, let's go look at AU. Oh, look, what a surprise. It looks exactly the same. Let's go look at NU. Oh, look, what a surprise. It looks exactly the same. So, a lot of you guys need to realize too is like you only really need us to analyze $1 pair, right? You really don't need us to look at AU, NU, right? It's really just the same thing. The dollar is driving that demand. So I'm gonna leave AU and NU alone, and we're gonna just look at gold because again the path is gonna be relatively the same on both. The only difference is that these things are so weak that they actually have no structure to the left, right? Where like gold still has like structure below. AU and NU are so weak that they don't, right? So I really just wouldn't touch these pairs at all, to be honest with you. Gold, however, again, we've talked about this on Sunday when it was still, over here, whatever it was. And again, I still believe the path on this is the same thing as EU, right? You're building up a bunch of liquidity here before PPI and CPI. You have this market structure point here, which is, pretty weak, right? And when we say weak, we basically just mean that it's more than likely going to break below this low point. Um, so what I'm specifically looking at on gold is what the volume is going to be like after we break below here. Let me just get rid of this other line real quick. When this PPI data comes out, one of two things are going to happen. It's either going to start breaking below this point on higher volume, meaning that we're going to see probably just further downside, or it's going to break below this area on decent sell volume because there's going to be news related, but it's going to hold in between these two structure points and give us the same thing we want on EU, where maybe then we get a little bit of a fade off. We talked about, again, this order block down here. We also talked about what's possibly dipping below this. This was all on Sunday. Again, there's still a lot of fair value gap, a lot of imbalance, inefficiencies in this area. But until I see those PPI and CPI numbers, right, the obvious move again heading into the news, into the rumors, is to continue with that dollar strength, right? Is to expect this to keep dropping lower. So I think what my setup will look like this week on gold, once I do finally get to execute, will probably be shortly below this wick into some of this imbalance. I don't think we fully fill it out. I don't think we take out this order block. Again, if CPI comes out above 8% as like a little bit of a shock number, then yeah, this thing's gonna just sink. But as long as we get what I want, which is for PPI and CPI to basically come out at the same that they've been, right? So no drastic change, right? It didn't go down, it didn't go up, right? No drastic change, nothing like that. If FOMC minutes again doesn't say anything drastic in it, which again, according to rumors, it really shouldn't, but there's always the possibility the Fed slips something in. My setup will probably look something like this, and then targeting, this liquidity pocket up here, which has been untested. So again, I do need to see what comes out with PPI and CPI, right? Because the fundamentals do play a big part into what I want to do. And I know that these numbers will dictate what happens for the next 2, 3 weeks up until the next Fed release in November. So this is going to set the tone for the next 2, 3 weeks. So again, I'm not playing the game of like, oh, let me just take stuff purely off the technicals. I'm gonna wait for the fundamentals to come out and then play the most obvious technicals in the direction of those fundamentals to end the week. But I do, if I get everything that I want, it will look something like this. Again, my stop loss is going to be, relative to the current action down here. But if I had to guess, it would look something like that. I mean, you can just extend this out though if you really wanted to. So let's see. George Beard says, "What up, fam? What up, George? Welcome to the chat, brother." That's why I trade the rumors. That's exactly why I tried to trade the rumors. Trust me, by the time something hits a headline, and I know you're specifically referencing when I was talking about oil and the whole JP Morgan thing, that's exactly why I trade the rumors. Is because by the time you see a headline about it, it's already too late. Shout out to that boy Kyle had the time Liddy. Shout out that boy Cove, bro. Good to see you on here, brother. Oh, I had the team Liddy. I was gonna say that's definitely definitely a misprint. Somebody said Bitcoin and Ethereum. Oh, we can go on a whole crypto rant if you guys really want to, but I probably won't go into technicals for those. Let's see what say. These calls and AM calls have been super helpful. I've been studying Jordan Morgan, but he no longer has his sessions on Go Live, so I felt sort of stuck. Um, yeah, I don't know if I can make any public comments on Mr. JM and Mr. Seven Sources, but shout out to him. He always be showing love. Um, and you may be able to have some conversations with him in the back end of the Prophet Society as a just an additional resource, right? Like he's not with us. He was out there doing his own thing and whatnot, but he loves love to chill with us. I do talk to that boy almost every day. So yeah, shout out to that man. He's definitely very knowledgeable. J.E. Nathan says, "What's good, bro? What book are you reading right now?" What book am I reading right now? Oh, what a question. Cause you calling me out, bro. No cap. Cause I'm not really reading anything right now. Um, I mean, I have books that I always read, right? So I'll drop these in the chat. I'm always reading these books,
That's a good call
right?
out. Call them out.
Right. So I'm always reading that book. I'm always reading that book. And I'm always reading this book. So there's not a month that goes by that I don't skim those three books. Two of them are about trading. One of them is about Hermetic philosophy. The first one's about Hermetic philosophy. It will help you in trading. It is not about trading. But yeah, definitely calling me out because I'm not really reading anything right now.
You said it's
But
about.
those are a few of my
You
favorites.
said it's about hermetic philosophy,
Yeah, Hermetic philosophy.
bro. Hold on. I know I'm not the only one. What the hell does that even mean, bro?
um, I mean, to put it in simple
Yeah,
terms,
yeah.
bro,
Please.
it's the ancient the easiest way to explain it to somebody that wouldn't know would be like it's the ancient religion of like Egypt and Greece. Um, it's that's what it is. It's an ancient religion. Like you'll read it and you'll see comparisons to other religious books. Like it's not talking specifically about God because that's not the obviously not the belief. It's not like a Christianity book. It's a Hermetic philosophy book, but it's just a way to um laws of the universe, right? How things work, how to handle emotions. Again, the law of polarity is in there. The law of cause and effect is in there. And if you know anything about Wyckoff logic is what? Cause and effect analysis, right? An accumulation is a cause for a markup, which is an effect. So that book contains basically these seven principles in which I base my life off of. Um, so yeah, I mean to each their own. Again, it may not be your cup of tea, but I do encourage you guys to at least read it. Shout out to my people that follow Hermetic philosophy. Shout out to people that are in tune with the Emerald tablets. People that follow the all, right? So yeah, shout out to all of you, regardless of what your beliefs are. But um, yeah, I encourage you guys to read the book regardless. Right? A lot of people said, "What the fuck? What is it?" Yeah, right. The all is one. Correct. Right. As above, so below. Right. Shout out to everybody that knows about, things like mentalism. Right. Shout out to all you guys. Um, what are your settings on the volume indicator? There are no settings on the volume indicator. There are no settings. You have the moving average, which I don't even use. But there are no settings on a volume indicator. It's just literally what color you want your volume to be. There are no settings. So if you're dealing with some sort of indicator that has settings, I don't know what you're using. Big Toth in the building. Yes, he shout out 25th Savage. He knows. He knows. I knew there were some people in here that follow Hermetics. Shout out to y'all. As within, so without. Yeah, that's another way to phrase that.
And big shout out to all y'all that don't understand anything that was just said, like myself. We not gonna we not we
Yeah,
not
shout
gonna
out to both.
we not gonna be
Shout out to
left
both.
out.
Yeah, I encourage y'all to read it. Again, it may open your eyes. You may read it and think I'm crazy. That's cool. It's open to your interpretation. It guides me. It doesn't have to guide you. Can you give some light on trade management? Yeah, I mean, we went over that before a few times on here. We could do that. I don't want to hog the call. We do have Abel on here though, so maybe we could both give our opinion. Hermes is the goddess of wisdom in Greece, exactly. See, some of these people do be knowing. Some of these people do be knowing.
Hmm.
We'll have to do a little Hermetics call.
Yeah,
And shout out to my mentor that put me on, Lewis Mocker. Shout out to you, brother. I know you'll never see this live, but I'm gonna shout you out anyway.
yeah, that'll be pretty cool though. I'll definitely be sitting in on that type of call.
Yeah, it's just a way to handle your emotions, right? So like, I mean, I'll give you guys like really quick like hermetic salt, like really quick. Like, first off, let me see if you guys even want this, right? Drop a two in the chat if I could show you one law that I follow in that book that allows me to what I call neutralize myself, right? And again, if you guys don't want this, it's cool. It's cool.
Listen, listen.
We could save
I
it for a
want it.
different day.
No, 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 no. I want it. So we gotta run with it because I need this
All
sauce.
right, so all right, so let's do this real quick. All right. So there's seven laws in the book. I'm gonna introduce y'all to one. And it's called the law of polarity. And you probably may have even heard about this in some sort of other capacity. But basically what this dictates is that everything is dual, meaning everything has two sides, and all truths are but a half truth, right? Which means if somebody's telling you the truth, no matter what, it's only half true. There's always a perspective or a lie hidden inside of everything, which is really not the part that we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the everything is dual. So basically, what this goes over is that basically everything is a varying degree of something else, right? So, like, the easiest way to ask you guys this is, right, what's the difference between hot and cold, right? And type that in the chat, right? Let me know what is the difference between hot and cold, right? Can anybody tell me what's the actual difference between hot and cold? All right, let's see if anybody knows. How can you be hot if there is no cold?
Hmm.
Well, where does hot begin? Right? Where does hot begin and where does cold end? You don't know, right? Because it's two sides of the same scale, right? You have right? You have your scale here. Let's just go like this, actually. So there's an arrow on both sides, right? You may have 0 degrees here, all right, and you may have 100 degrees here. But where hot and cold begins is entirely up to you, right? This might be cold and this might be hot, but it's the same scale, right? So they're the same thing. They're just polar opposites of each other, right? So this lives inside of everything, right? We can now apply this to trading by saying this is no longer degrees, but this is fear. And what's on the other side of fear, family? Does anybody know what's on the other side of fear? Is greed, right? So the law of polarity dictates that everything has its opposite, right? Happy, sad, fear, greedful, hot, cold, up, down, right? Everything is dual. So emotions are also dual. And the way we apply this to trading is off the same factor. Now let's take this away from being a line real quick, because emotions are not a straight line. Emotions are actually more so like a pendulum. And if you don't know what a pendulum is, it's like that fancy little thing that swings back and forth, right? You ever see those like you mostly see them in like a therapist's office, like the 5 balls, they swing back and forth. You pull one to the right and then it swings and it hits all the balls, and the one on the left swings and it goes back and forth and back. Like that's a different type of pendulum, but a pendulum operates in that way. Um, but this is like you and your emotions, right? And at any given time, right, you have fear on the left and greed on the right. You live in the middle, right? This is you, right? Now let's say you take a trade, right? Let's say you take a trade, you got all your confirmations in this trade, right? You're chilling. You're like, man, this trade looks perfect. I'm about to drop 5 standards on this thing, right? You're feeling greedy, right? You're feeling greedy. Or you're like, man, this is about to be the trade that makes me $100 million. About to be rich off this shit, right? You're dealing in greed. Now, the law of polarity states that if you were to swing to the right in greed, right, who knows what's going to happen when you let go, right, and you begin to swing back the other way, right? You're going to swing back the other way. So if you're swinging in greed, right, and let's say this trade now goes negative, or let's say now you're down 5 pips, you're down 10 pips, you're down 15 pips. As far as you swing to the right to greed, you're going to swing back to the left with fear, right? And this is your emotional state all day long. Now, as a trader, right, a lot of people are taught, okay, I'm supposed to have no emotions, right? Now, if you truly had no emotions, you would be way up here, right, where you can't swing back and forth, right? Because if you swing, you're hitting your limit, right? This is not where people live. But as a trader, right, you're depending on how disciplined you are, you might be all the way down here, meaning you drastically swing, right? Every single day you're swinging back and forth from fear to greed, right? Mass fear, mass greed, mass fear, mass greed, just back and forth, swinging, 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 because you're not in control of your emotions, right? Notice how I said you don't ignore your emotions, you don't hide them, you don't suppress them, you're in control. So once you begin to master how to move, master your emotions, you begin to move up this pendulum, right? You begin to shorten your range. And eventually, you want to try to get as high as you can to when you are experiencing greed, it's not that much greed. And when you are experiencing fear, it's not that much fear. All right, so this is your goal as a trader, right? A lot of new traders immediately are at the bottom of the pendulum, right? They're feeling massive greed every time they win a trade. Oh man, I'm the best, bro. I'm gonna screenshot this and put this on IG. I'm gonna drop 10 lots next time. I'm gonna get funded in a day. And then they swing to the fear. Oh man, this shit's a scam. Oh man, this going to zero. Oh man, I blew my account. Right? When it's up to your job as a trader to grow and literally elevate yourself to a level where you begin to able to manage your emotions in a way that you stop swinging back and forth. And again, this all comes back to the law of polarity, right? Everything is dual. You can't feel greed without also feeling fear, right? You can't enjoy profits without also taking losses, right? The market is not going to move up without also moving down. right? So this is just one of the many things, again, that's taught in the Kabbalion, which is, again, how I regulate my life. Like, I know when I'm feeling greedy, all right, that if I allow my trade to swing back against me, I'm gonna feel the same degree of fear. Right. So I gotta do one of two things. Either close out my trade to stop the pendulum from swinging, right? Because if I'm out of the trade, I'm not gonna be emotional about it anymore. Or I need to realign myself so not that I don't swing, but that I swing less. So again, a little bit like of just advanced emotion mastery stuff. Again, hopefully this stuff made sense. If this went way over your head, if you think I'm crazy, that's cool too. To each their own. But this is again just one law that lives in the book, or as they call them, principles. I call them law because law to me is a very defining word, right? If something is law, then I follow it to a T. So I don't like the word principle, but they do use the word principle in the book. But let me get some threes in the chat if this made some sense. Um, if it blew your mind, maybe I don't know. Let me know. I could either be crazy, I could not be crazy. I've done master classes on this before. I do plan on doing more in the Prophet Society with you guys. Again, this is like really, it's not advanced trading stuff. It's advanced emotional control stuff. Because again, guys, it's not your job as a trader to be emotionless. It's your job as your trader to neutralize your emotions, right? So if you take anything away from this call, it's please learn how to neutralize your emotions. Learn how to return back to the center. Learn how to get back to the center point, right? It's like being aware that you're being greedy, and then not only being aware that you're being greedy, but being aware that there's incoming fear if you don't neutralize that greed. Like the fear is coming. You know it's gonna come. You know the market's gonna pull back at some point, and you're gonna be like, "Man, I should have exited. Man, I should have took my profits. Man, I should have went break even." So yeah, hopefully this helps some people. Hopefully tomorrow with the news and stuff, as you guys are swinging back and forth, you guys will be able to neutralize. And Abel, bro. I mean, hopefully this opened up your eyes a little bit as well. I know you've seen me do this live in Houston as well, talking about this. um, and it's always a pleasure to kind of bring it up, bro. So I do appreciate you kind of forcing me into a little bit of
Hmm.
hermetic sauce.
I mean, the whole thing about not just this, but that I always do that is because I want the people to really understand like how knowledgeable, not just you are, but everything that we're bringing to this whole platform, right? Because we talk about next level stuff, family. When I hope just that little insight right there is an insight as to what you guys could really expect. When we do actually fully launch the platform, because that's literally the conversations that we be having all the time, next level conversations, right? And these conversations are needed, right? But the law of polarity is one of my favorite laws. For every positive, there's a negative, right? I always utilize that in that manner, positive, negative. So anytime I go through a negative situation in my life, I always think about, all right, cool. If I'm going through a negative, then there has to be a positive. Like there just has to be, right? You can't be no negative without a positive, and vice versa. There can't be no positive without a negative. I mean, just think about the law of polarity, and I mean, think about it in terms of if you're I mean, simple way of doing it, right? Have you guys ever seen a one-sided piece of paper? No. Have you ever seen
Yeah, I have one-sided piece of paper.
Have you ever seen a one-sided piece of bread? No, right? Because for every side, there's two sides to everything, literally, right? So, it's dope. It's a dope concept, guys, that can really help you out overall with your mindset and how to control and manage your mindset when you are trading, right? And
Yeah,
these,
and again, shout out to again my mentor because the pendulum is not taught in the book, right? Just to be fair, right? The pendulum and the idea of swinging back and forth, that's not taught in the book. That is something that I got from, one of my mentors. Um, everybody has somebody that they learn from. So definitely shout out to Lewis. He's the one that kind of references the pendulum and moving up the pendulum and as you ascend through life being able to become a master of yourself, right? So that the higher you are in this, the less you swing back and forth, the more of a master you are of your own mind. So yeah, shout out to him for the assist on this for sure.
mm-hmm.
Went and bought the book. Sounds great. Hey, that's all I could ask for, man. Again, I definitely highly recommend it to everybody. So, and if you guys have again books that make you think and bring stuff like this, hey, DM me, man. Please, please, please. Please, again, like I said, I'm not reading anything right now, so please DM me on Instagram with any sort of books you guys like and read. Especially if you take a recommendation from me, because I like to get back from people that read my stuff. I like to peek into the minds of others.
Hmm.
That being said, yeah, let's we'll get off the hermetic stuff from now for now, and again we'll revisit some of that in the Prophet Society.
Hell yeah, we can have some deep conversations about that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's a fact. All right, so let's see where we at though, bro. Like, what are we looking at for tonight though? Anything specifically that you're interested in for tonight?
Not with PPI tomorrow. Yeah, not with PPI. I mean, GJ, in terms of what you were looking at, looks pretty good because I know they have the GDP that comes out. Um,
All I need is
to
a
be
sweep of
honest
the
though,
lows, man.
I don't specifically know if I agree with the buy bias. I mean, I do see like I mean, if it gives you your setup, like again, if it takes out these lows and then comes back above, like yeah, okay. But until I see that, I'm a little suspect of that Bank of England news that came out.
Hmm.
Um, but again, now we printed these equal highs too. So again, the reason why I don't necessarily agree on GJ doesn't even really come from the GJ chart. It actually comes from the UJ chart. Um, where now with UJ pushing above this wick, I'm kind of asking myself, what actually happens up here. Um, and again, like you like I am looking after PPI and CPI for the dollar to fade off. So it's like, okay, we're pushing higher. There's no real buying effort above this high. Um, and with that being said, like, do we print some sort of like order block up here that I could play and take to the downside? So again, I'm going to be watching UJ pretty closely because if UJ runs out of steam up here, then GJ is probably going to take a tumble as well. But this is nonetheless been holding up pretty well um, in this Asian session here. So maybe that idea is not entirely accurate, but we'll know more with PPI and CPI.
Yeah, I mean UJ is coming up to an interesting level. I think we're about to run these highs here at 113, 113.8. I
Oh,
think.
113. Well, we're at 146. Boy, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm looking at. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong chart. I'm tripping.
I'm like 113, boy. I'm like,
I was looking at the dollar index itself. I mean, this thing is trading up at almost 10-year highs, 20 years highs.
yeah,
So
no.
this thing is
Yeah,
crazy.
but it's again, my analysis is off the backbone of there being a small pause in the strength until the Fed comes back out in November.
I mean,
Uh,
I do like this 147 level. 147, yeah, this 147 does. I mean, if you look at this shit from the monthly time frame, go to the monthly real quick. Like, just look at this thing from the monthly and look at the structure levels that we're playing off of and that we're going into right now.
yeah, but we're like playing even above these
Yeah,
highs
we're above them.
into like these monthly highs.
Yeah, see, now we're
Yeah,
playing into these highs where we could start to see selling pressure really start to come in just because of all of. I mean, these are some crazy highs that we're breaking right now. That high in 1998, we literally just, I mean, pretty much about to run it probably
this
tonight.
really, honestly, what annoys me about this so much is like when it was trading down here, bro, me and Clay would be looking for buy. Like we talked about this breaking to the upside for so long. And it's like you have the right idea. Like ever since the flash crash, like we were just like, yeah, like this is like this stupid little monthly flag is eventually gonna break out. It's
Oh,
just
it
like
did.
I don't know. It's so annoying. Like really missed out on like 46,000 pips
it's
or something like that. Whatever this is,
like
4,000. No, that's more than 4,000. I don't even know.
that's like 4,000 pips.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to do the math.
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's too many.
that's like a 2 year run. This thing's been
Yeah,
on.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, if we are gonna see a reversal though, it will be up in this one. I would say around the 148 level. If we can clear these high at 148 and get an initial reaction back in.
Yeah, for me,
Hmm.
predicting any reversal on this is going to be less a technical price and more like the fundamental backing of the move.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always with fundamental for sure.
Um, yeah, man, you want to take the screen back over?
I
I
got you.
bet.
Yeah, so I mean, we got some very interesting price action there on UJ.
Also, bro, you might need to turn up your mic a little bit.
Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. This guy's came in and changed the tone. I love it. Oh yeah, 100%. Let's see. Went and bought the book. Okay. All right. So yeah, like I was saying, guys, UJ is just. I mean, this thing has obviously been on fire. We all should know why it's been on fire. I'm not gonna get too into that. But we are getting up into areas, guys, where we probably will see some fading off of, especially this level right here. I mean, this level right here that we're currently at, this is a very, very interesting level here, right? Because we have this level of structure, this level of supply, right, where the market clearly ended up selling off from in the past. Now we're finally testing that level. Um, but this is going to be very interesting to see, because again, as long as the policies are the way that they have been, even if we do see a moment of selling off, it's probably going to be short lived. But you never know. Obviously, right now, there's a lot of mixed signals across the board, guys, in these markets where we're seeing mixed data for a lot of central banks. So it's definitely something to just be aware of. But overall, UJ is, I mean, this thing has been on fire. I wouldn't be surprised if we do ended up reaching this 148 and starting to see some selling pressure come into play. All right, but let's go ahead and see what we can find for tonight, guys, because I know that's what you guys are mainly interested in. Hey, but what can we look for tonight, though, bro? Like, I get it. All that good stuff. I get it. All right, so Euro USD is actually looking pretty interesting. I think we have a very good chance of running this low here, guys, at this 0.963 level. So if we're able, I mean, price could really just start tanking from right there, right? But if we're able to see price push back up around this 0.97 level, right, I think that that would be a very good opportunity, to go ahead and go short on. Okay, I really do think that, right? If we're able to see price make a retest back up to this 0.97, I would say 0.972, then I think that that could give us a nice opportunity. Definitely go ahead and look for some shorts here on Euro USD. I really want to target all the way back down to these lows, right? So it'll be something like entry up here, 0.972. Target going to be down here, 9.955 for around 150, 170 pips. In this, if we wanted to be, safe, we could have our stop loss above the ultimate swing high up here for around 50 pips. If you're going to be watching it in real time, right? If you're actually going to be watching this in real time, then you might be able to actually get a better entry based off looking at price action. But overall, just to be safe, and because our risk to reward is still valid, always consider maybe having it even a little bit higher. Right now, again, that's just because we're going to be taking it, without being able to actually monitor the trade. If I'm monitoring this trade, then yeah, my stop loss is definitely going to be a lot tighter because I'll be playing based off the price action that I'm seeing. But since I'm not going to be monitoring it and I'll probably be sleeping by the time this triggers, I want to make sure that I give this thing a little bit of room, right? Some wiggle room to go ahead and play around with, just in case the market, for whatever reason, wanted to go ahead and, maybe break this high right here, come up into this level, and then go ahead and give us a reversal, right? So, but overall, this looks pretty interesting, guys, right? This looks very attractive in my opinion as a setup. So if we can go ahead and see the market go ahead and give us that, maybe run this little trend line right here, trend line liquidity up into that level. I think that would be super attractive for sure, right? Absolutely for sure, right? So that's gonna be one opportunity I'm gonna be looking for tonight. Obviously we already spoke about GJ. If I can get this break to around this 159.5 level on GJ, just seeing how the market reacts around there is going to be super attractive as well. If we're able to go ahead and break below, I would like to see a clear of this level and then a rebound back up to then go ahead and look for that buy to the upside for GJ. So definitely keep your guys' eyes on this. A sweep of the 159.5 and a rebound, that is signs for a buy. Okay, that is signs for a big buy in my opinion. I like it. I'm still going to be looking for it. I'm going to still be taking that trade if it actually sets up for us, guys. And just to look at the indices before we actually go ahead and wrap this thing up, just to see what they've been doing. Obviously they've been falling. Guys, we're literally starting to see a lot. In my opinion, we could really see this month like really start to collapse, right? Just looking at this thing from the monthly time frame right here, just looking at candlesticks, right, on a monthly time frame, this thing looks like it's primed to actually go ahead and collapse. right? So I'm still expecting a lot more downside here for these indices. Again, very simple, guys. As long as the policies are the same, there's no reason to go against it. All right, no reason to go against it. So for Nas going into tomorrow morning, if we're able to see price guys make its way up into these levels up here, I think that we have a very good chance to actually go ahead and selling off from, right? So I'm not interested in no buys for Nas, but I'm very interested in looking for this continuation here. All right, so a move back up to around this, I would say just 10,900 level, right? 10,900. That could be a very, very good level, guys, to look for some shorts on, in my opinion. Right, move back up to there. I'm targeting right back down to these lows, and possibly even looking for even lower targets after that. Right, so that Nas looks super attractive, looks super sexy in my opinion. Right, so that's another one, guys. I'll be keeping my eyes on going into today as well to see how that one plays out. Let's see what has gold. I'm still bearish gold as well. All right, if we could see price maybe push back up to these levels, that's the only way I would be interested in gold. All right, up to here around 1670s, 1673 or so. I'll be very interested in that 1673 level for some shorts on gold. But that's pretty much what we got for you guys for the rest of the week. Now, again, for all you guys that are inside of the actual Profit Society beta, right, we do appreciate y'all. We love you. We will be live again inside of the platform tomorrow morning, trading New York session. So make sure to be there on time, right? All the details for the call are going to be inside of the actual group, right? You guys will obviously get the email as well for it. So make sure to check your emails in the morning. We will be going live around 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time again. And we're going to be doing that consistently, right? And then we will come back again live tomorrow on YouTube once again for Asian session, just pretty much going over what has happened for the day, right? And we're going to be doing that, guys, for the rest of the week, right? So that is our schedule for the rest of the week. All right, New York session inside of the platform, inside of our platform, right? Which we are actually going to start opening up very, very soon to a lot of you guys. All right, we're actually going to be opening up the beta very, very soon, family. All right, so please, if you guys are not just yet, go to profitsociety.co and just go ahead and put yourself on the wait list. We are going to start sending out some emails to you guys for anybody that is interested in joining the actual platform itself. We're definitely going to need a lot of you guys' help, right? Just to help us continuously test this thing out. All right, but yeah, overall, tomorrow we will be live inside of the platform, so make sure to be there or be square. All right, but without further ado, family, do appreciate y'all. I'm not sure if the boy Skaggs has anything else he wants to touch on. Do you have anything else, bro?
Can you hear me? Because my Zoom is like crashing out.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Because it's not responsive. But no, man, I got nothing else to say. I will say if you guys are on the wait list, check your emails in the morning. You should have a link to sign up to the beta. So if you don't have beta access, keep an eye on your email either tonight or tomorrow morning. We're going to send that out, and you guys will be able to sign up for an account and then join the live trading session tomorrow for free. As we continue to test the platform. So even if you're brand new to this call and this is the only thing that you're hearing me say, again, get on that wait list, and I will see you guys tomorrow live trading so we can go over PPI and stuff. But with that being said, fam, this is your boy Skag. I'm good. Abel Moro, I appreciate you, and I'll speak to you soon.
Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, family. Like you said, make sure to be on the beta or make sure to be on the wait list so you can get that email. Just so you guys are aware, family. Again, this platform, the Profit Society, it is going to be a free platform for certain aspects. Okay, so get on this, get on the actual wait list, get inside the platform, get inside the community, start to utilize the community, treat it as a social media platform. That's exactly what it is, right? And it is going to be free for the most part. The only thing that's going to be paid inside the platform, guys, is going to be our premium services, right? Obviously, we do have to monetize because it is a business, right? But for the most part, you're going to be able to create an account, guys, and be inside the community for free, right? For free, right? And I know that that's going to be massive, right? For free, you can actually be a part of the community, create your own profile, drop your analysis inside the community. And the reason why we really wanted to focus on creating a place for all of us to be at is because I understand how it is, guys, right? Over the past 7-8 years, anytime I will talk about trading or Forex on my social media, on my Facebook, my Instagram, right? All I'll get met with is a bunch of negative comments from people that are not doing nothing with their life. So what we're trying to do here is create a safe haven, a safe place for everybody that is interested in trading, right? That can actually go ahead and, drop their comments, right? Drop their concerns, right? Actually start a conversation without having to deal with, your friends and family that are not doing anything, right? and just talking about all their BS, right? So we're giving you guys a place where you guys can feel safe, talk about trading, talk about investing, and just really just focus on growth, right? Which is going to be the best part. But again, we do look forward to seeing you guys all in it. So make sure to go ahead and sign up to the waitlist, profitsociety.co. You should receive an email by the morning. And we look forward to seeing you guys inside the main platform tomorrow morning for a New York session. But our family, love you guys. I appreciate y'all, and we will be back tomorrow. Let's get it. Have a great rest of your night, y'all. Let's go.